Franklin, I'll start with you on this. Why has this been an uphill task, so to speak, when it comes to leadership? Chapter 6 of the Constitution. Why has it been so hard to implement, especially when the voting process is coming through? Even right now, as we speak, there's been a case at the courts trying to stop the swearing in of William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua should they win. They've also lodged a counter appeal on that to say that it's too early for that sort of petition to come through. Why has it been such a challenge to have the Chapter 6 on the leadership and integrity implemented from the voters' side and institutional sides as well?
Clearly, Kenyans have a very high tolerance for mediocrity and moral standing. If you ask what the reason is to elect people that don't have a track record or have questionable dealings, you realize that when the populace is presented with the opportunity, they choose to vote with their stomachs mostly and not their minds. And unless we address the opposite number of these leaders that have integrity issues, and that is the voter, to resist behavior like voter bribery, you will still have a field day of these characters getting access to power, because that is the bottom line. Even if they manage, and we have, of course, a challenge around the constitutional architecture, that you cannot pin down some of these characters, because the law says that they have to, the full appeal process exhaust the legal opportunities available until they are proven guilty. It happened in 2013 that the outgoing president and the UDA candidate were facing crimes against humanity in The Hague. But they were allowed to run because they had not exhausted the legal mechanisms available, and that then denies the voter the cushion of the law. And therefore, the voter has to be of high integrity themselves. I think I will ask Kenyans that if you want to establish what is Kenya's problem with integrity, please go stand in front of the mirror and see the problem in that mirror. It is down to that the individual decisions, when we are alone, are challenged. We are subscribing to voter bribery, very basic electoral malpractices, and we don't find that a problem. We are rewarding politicians that have bloods on their hand. We are rewarding politicians that have looted public coffers in previous positions, and the electing leaders that don't generally subscribe to transactional politics. If you are not going to agree to be a social welfare dispenser and you're a politician in the country, you have no opportunity to be re-elected. People don't want you to legislate. The people don't want you to oversight. The people don't want you to represent them properly. But they want you to be part of them. It's part of our culture that we want them to be in our funerals, we want them to be in our weddings, we want them to come for our baby showers, their birthdays, and therefore we think that is good interface and we'll elect them. I always ask Trevor, what is Kenya's problem? Is it that it is wrong for a leader to be poor? That a leader must be a man or a woman of means? That if you have means, then you are easily elected? Or is it, on the flip side, that it is disrespectful when an ordinary folk meets a leader and not ask them for something, all right? Because anytime you see Kenyans engaging with leaders is, how are you leaving us? It has nothing to do with the conversation about that bill you're putting on the floor of the county assembly. It has nothing to do with, we want you to vote this way. So is it that it is disrespectful not to demand for something from a leader when you meet them, especially elected ones? Or is it that a leader must be a man of means and generous and philanthropic enough? And that cultural issue must be dealt with before we begin having a conversation on integrity. But finally, we saw that social vetting can become a good tool. The question of academic credentials was properly prosecuted in the public spaces, especially online. And I'm sure, for instance, my good friend, with a lot of respect, Governor Sakaja, still has a lot of explaining to do. I will not be surprised if he faces legal hurdles soon he's sworn in. And I dare say that he may have a very difficult time. Completing it will be very lucky for him if he does, because of the pressure. So this, Trevor, goes down to the people. It has nothing to do with the law. Culture is more stable than the law anywhere.
Perhaps another way of asking your question, Mukwanja, and this I'll direct it to you, Asaska, would be, have the leaders failed the electorate enough for the electorate to resort to, how can you solve my immediate problem? Let me not wait for the bills. Let me not wait for the promises you gave me in your manifesto. Let me just look for what you can give me now. Is it unga? Is it sugar? That is, who should carry the biggest responsibility in this equation?
Thank you. I like the way Franklin has put it very well. And I think for now, it's what is really ailing Kenyans. I think, but we have our votes to make a change in this country. And Kenya really needs change, to be honest. And as Franklin put it, you know, today we say, oh, Ruto is the new bad guy in town, you know. Oh, in 2007, we said, oh, you know, Raila Odinga is the bogeyman of Kenyan elections back then. And it just boils down to know, you know, who will I believe will put my issues first in the first place? I mean, it's still, our politics is still very much tribal driven. You know, it's Mtuwangu syndrome. You know, if I have Arendile running in Marsabit, you know, he or she definitely expects me to vote for him or her. You know, without looking at what they bring on the table and who is best for Marsabit County, for that matter, or for my constituency. So yes, we have a long ways to go as Kenyans, and I wish we really, as we claim that this election is about issues, I know deep down it's not. You know, look at Raila. You know, for many, many decades, you know, he's been the establishment's nightmare for many, many years. But this year, you know, he has now become the Raila Odinga of the establishment agenda. You know, we're really, as he said, with integrity, it starts from me, from my house, you know, with my kids, with my family. And as much as our constitution dictates all this, no one is clean, to be honest. You know, we all somehow tinted in one way or another. But the best way to look at it is who can really deliver the promises? Who can we trust more? And it depends with who you talk to and what lenses they put on.
Yeah. And Prof, how can we ensure that Chapter 6 is implemented to the letter, starting from the voter themselves and also the leaders who stand for elections?
I think my friend here said the law is not the problem. The problem is the law.
So the law is not the problem, the problem is the law.
The problem is actually the law. Okay. You see, what happened at drafting of this